I often go on about the 50s. I think people don't realise how good it really was. The main thing is that we had freedom. We had more freedom than you've got today. We didn't have all these parking rules. There wasn't yellow lines everywhere. If you went on the motorway, there was no speed limit. You could go as fast as your car could go, or motorbike. No, they were great times. Money, well, we didn't earn that much, but it didn't matter because we lived a pretty good life, all the same. And the money we had then, you had, let me see, the smallest amount of money was a farthing. And then you had a halfpenny, which was 2 farthings. And then you had a penny, which was 4 farthings in a penny. And then we had 12 pennies to a shilling. And I think it was 12 shillings to a pound. And then, of course, digital currency came in and destroyed all that in, I think, 1973. I don't find all these wonderful things today actually makes life better for us. We didn't have computers in our days, but we didn't miss computers. There wasn't much on TV. Again, we didn't care because we played outdoors most of the time. And also there were games that we used to play. Instead of playing as people do today, the kids play anyway, all these fighting games, etc. We used to play chess or dominoes. And then all those things I miss, such as the police. The police always wore those very high helmets. And they had police boxes everywhere. Now, of course, the only time you see a police box is on that famous TV series, The TARDIS, Doctor Who and The TARDIS. We didn't have phones. We had phone boxes, so it didn't matter. We used to write a lot of letters in those days. Everything was on a much slower level. Wonderful. And the houses that we lived in, most of the houses in London was built in the boom years, which was around 1850, 1860. You'll find most of the houses built then. Wonderful houses, solid. And when they built houses in those days, it wasn't so much about how much is it going to cost to build a house. They used to make all these houses look so pretty, so beautiful. And now, of course, it's, especially in the 50s, let me see, in the 60s mainly, especially from the 60s up, it all changed, the idea of building. It was build square blocks and stick as many people as you can and make it as cheap as you can when you build. So there's no stone masonry efforts in these buildings. It was normally done with brickies, square windows, ugly things, square or oblong buildings with square and oblong windows and doors. No, it was the houses built in the 1850s and 60s were more grand. And just a reminder, if you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. Thank you. They followed the looks of the rich houses. They were just smaller, that's all. And of course, a lot of houses in those days were called artisans' houses. Artisans means trade people, such as bricklayers. Yeah. And many of those artisans' houses, when they were originally built, had no letterbox. No one needed letterboxes in the 1850s, 1860s, because no one could read and write. No one sent letters or received letters, so there was no point to a letterbox. No, they came along much later. But of course, I was born in 1951, and people were more friendly because it was the end of the war. People talked to each other. And it used to snow. It snowed at Christmas in London. Now, of course, you're lucky if you get snow at all in the year. And it's definitely not at Christmas. But every Christmas in London we got deep snow. And of course at times we got fog, just like the Victorian times, because everyone was using coal. But of course you didn't just use coal in those days, because coal burnt quickly. So as soon as you got the fire going with the coal, you then put coke on there. And the coke was much lighter in weight, but it lasted far longer than coal did. I don't think you got flames from the coke, you just got, the coke became red hot, that's all. And delivered all this heat to you, of course. But everyone used to sit around instead of the TV, everyone would sit around the fireside and just talk about things. Then we have a radio with the news and such like, and my mum singing along to the songs on the radio, and then the comedies on the radio. And these comedies, of course, were series. They go on maybe 4 times a week. Yeah, life was good. I was out most of the time, and then I would just come in to grab a meal and then back out again. Schooling was hopeless for me. I hardly went to the school because I couldn't learn anything. Bad memory, you see, lack of memory. I remember the milk bottles. We had Gold Top, which was my favourite. We always ordered Gold Top, and that was full cream. As far as I know, it wasn't pasteurised. In other words, it wasn't boiled in those days. Straight from the cow into the bottle. And then from the pasteurised, that was the top. The next one down was Red Top. Now Red Top was, I think, boiled. Next one down from there was Silver Top, and that was watery. That was what you call it, without any fat at all in it, skimmed milk. And then they had one with a long neck on the bottle, and that was sterilised milk, I think it's called. Terrible taste, lasts forever. All the other milk would go off fairly quickly, especially the one with the full cream. But we used to get deliveries every day, and if you didn't want a delivery, you just put a little note there saying no delivery today. And that's how we lived. If the bottle of milk went off quickly, sometimes it did, it wouldn't last the next day sometimes. You just give it back to the milkman. And they would take it back. And I only found out years later the reason why they took back these bottles was because they poured it back into the good milk and mixed it all about, you see. As long as they didn't pour too much of the old milk with the good milk, it wouldn't go off so quickly. But sometimes it would go off quickly because they put too much old milk back in. So they always took the milk back if it was off. Then we used to have people coming round and they'd be shouting. I don't know what they shouted. Maybe the knife sharpener would shout, "Knife sharpener!" I don't know, but you have a little wheelbarrow thing, and you just push it along. And then you had someone who came around shouting, collecting bits of old cloth material and things like that, and paper as well. And they would look trampy, these people. But they'd come around shouting. You could hear them shouting. And then you'd have, and I think it still happens occasionally, you would have the ice cream van coming around with the tune playing. So you'd rush out to get yourself a 99 ice cream. That was my favourite. All these things I sort of missed. They was all part of our community. And there was a shop in the main street only a few minutes from where I lived. I lived just off of the main road. But there was a shop in the main road which sold toys. And they sold a lot of, when I say toys, they sold a lot of train sets as well. And they had this, the whole window was of this train set, and it was not just the train and the line, but they put in forest, plastic forest or whatever it was made of in those days, hills and tunnels, and even a railway station was there, I remember. And as a boy, I used to get a penny from my mother and put it in the slot at the side, and it would get the thing going. It would start moving around the train. Yeah, I cherish those days, even though today we have the computers and we have all these amazing phones, which are really just miniature computers. I still treasure the past. People just don't understand that in many ways we were better off because we didn't have so many rules and regulations. People appreciated things more in those days. When you got less, you tend to appreciate more. I think the problem today is that people watch too many of these movies where they see these millionaires, and it makes them think that that's what life and happiness is all about, making $1 million, whether you're going to do it legally or steal. Too much value has been put on money rather than enjoying life, knowing how to enjoy life. And I think that's what we've got to get back into society again. How to enjoy life with little money, really. Of course, all the things you see today, like cakes and such like, and pies, all that was made at home by Mum. You didn't go out and buy them. And then there was the corner shop, and that was always open on a Sunday till about 2 o'clock, I think. And then everything was shut after that. I mean, the corner shop and the sweet shop, there was a sweet shop around the corner which sold papers as well. They were open to about 2 o'clock, and then it was shut, and nothing was open on a Sunday after 2. But we didn't have the Indians around those days, so we didn't have all these Indian little shops, supermarkets, miniature supermarkets. No, it was good. I liked Sunday being so quiet and relaxed. You can feel it. Now, of course, there's always something going on, and always pushing ourselves to go faster and faster and do more and more of nothing. We don't know how to relax anymore. And of course the police in those days had whistles. They didn't have these little walkie-talkies. If they saw someone up to no good, they would blow a whistle, and the other man in not too far away, the other policeman, he would come running, and then he would blow his whistle, and the other one would, so they all did hear the whistles blowing, and they'd all come to that one place, you see. Yeah. And the bobbies, that's what we used to call them in those days, they'd quite often be on bicycles. They would either be walking along or on bicycles. And because I was a child, I got away with a lot of things, which I don't think that's right. We shouldn't treat children so easily. Really, if you treat children easily, and I know that from my experience, you don't learn from it. There's no respect. I didn't respect grown-ups at all. And I remember I got myself an air pistol, and I was firing at the lights, trying to smash the lights, the street lights, and I was caught by a bobby doing that. And you feign the the you feign being sorry, and you lower your head, and all this is an act. You don't really mean it. It's not in your heart. It's just an act. You're just trying to fool the policeman, the Bobby. Anyway, he took me home, and he handed the air pistol to my mother, and he told her what I was doing, trying to smash the street lights. And she said she would, whatever it was, I can't remember, but he was satisfied and he walked off. Well, as soon as he walked off, she handed me the air pistol back, and off I went trying to smash street lights again. You don't learn from that as a child. People have got to realise that us children aren't always innocent. Most of us just haven't got the knowledge that you have. But we're not innocent. You can't mistake that for innocence. It's not innocence at all. I was a selfish brat. My mother used to always be blinded to the way I looked and my innocent voice, and I could wrap her around my finger, and I did. A lot of children do. They wrap their parents around their fingers by putting on a certain mannerism, as if you're really innocent and you're sorry and you want this or you want that. Can you buy this for me, Mum? Really, you've got to stop being fooled by us lot. It doesn't do us good to get what we want every time.